This video is on Pinus Virginiana, Virginia pine or scrub pine. This is in the Pinaceae, the pine family. Cone scale shape is flat, and Virginiana means over from Virginia. So this species is native to North Carolina. You'll see it even growing wild in some parts of the Piedmont. And it's really not very important for lumber. It's only used for pulpwood, really. It's got a pretty poor form, doesn't get gigantic. And this species, the wildlife use is similar to loblolly pine, and the regeneration, to regenerate it requires big stand replacing fires. So it's a poor competitor, and it really needs those big fires to just wipe out the whole stand and start over again to regenerate. So you'll see here how they retain those dead branches. So we call that a fire ladder. So if the fire is burning along the ground, they'll just burn all those dead branches and then just shoot right up the tree. And then you get big crown fires to take out the whole stand. And that's how they'll regenerate. You'll also sometimes see the species used for Christmas trees, but that's not too common. So to identify this tree, we'll start with the needles. So here's my hand for scale. These are really short needles, probably the shortest we learn in this class, and there's only 2 per fascicle. So we're learning our first 2-needled pines in lab this week. Really small, sometimes they're twisted. You can see these are kind of twisted. 2 needles per bundle, really short. Maybe no more than 2 inches long, I'd say. So those really short needles are key, 2 per fascicle. The bark's pretty similar to other trees we've learned, or other pines rather. Kind of scaly, often has that orange color. You see that orange color a lot in this species. Pretty scaly. Some bigger plates down towards the bottom. And then the cone is really important for ID. The cone can look similar to shortleaf pine, which we'll learn later, but the cone's just this tiny little thing. We haven't learned any other small cones yet. But if you look at the inside of those scales, you see this dark margin, that dark tip, kind of like nail polish maybe, right on the tip of each scale. That really dark margin is key for Virginia pine, and that's real obvious and dark when the cone is fresh, and it tends to fade a little over time. But this is a pretty old cone here, but you can still see that dark tip to the scale. That's the really big key for differentiating this from shortleaf pine, which we'll learn in a future lab. So those cones, those dark tips of the scales, and then those really short needles are your big keys for ID for this species. Just 2 needles per fascicle, really short and often twisted like so.